Financial security does not exist. This is the first inconvenient truth that no one wants you to know. No one profits from this truth. You were taught from a young age that there are safe structures, safe governments that never fail, secure jobs that last a lifetime, safe savings that grow indefinitely, safe investments that never disappear. All lies. Complete and utter lie. There's no genuine and real security in depending on something outside of yourself. It never existed. But there's a path that is safer than all other possible paths. And that's not what most people believe. It's not what was sold to you. Milton Friedman spent decades studying how people seek security and came to a disturbing conclusion. Most people seek security in the wrong place. In institutions, in governments, in jobs they believe are bigger and more reliable. Friedman showed that this search is exactly what makes them insecure. True security doesn't come from anyone. It comes from you. Think of a financially secure person. You think of someone with a lot of money. Wrong. There are billionaires who have bad nights of sleep. There are people with modest incomes who sleep soundly. The difference is not how much they have. It's how much they need and how many ways they can provide what they need. Friedman observed something that financial planners ignore. Income diversification is more important than total quantity. A person who earns $5,000 a month from a single source is in constant danger. One small change and it collapses. But someone who earns $2,000 in salary, $1,000 from consultancy, $1,000 from investments, $1,000 from digital, and $1,000 from side business is safe. Even if one disappears, it remains functional. He's building a fortress. Financial security is a structural problem, not an income problem. Most people think wrong about risk, too. Think about the risk of entering uncertain territories. But the biggest risk is being stuck in a certain place. If that place collapses, you collapse with it. Things fall apart. Always. Companies fail. Governments fall. Coins lose value. Structures that seem eternal turn to ashes. Friedman knew the story. And history shows that nothing we depend on is truly safe. What we can do is build redundancy so that when something collapses, we're still standing. The safest path starts with a principle that no one wants to hear. You can't trust anyone but yourself. Not the boss, not in the government, not in luck. You. Every institution you depend on is controlled by people with their own interests. The only institution whose interests completely coincide with yours is yourself. That's why it's the only one worth investing energy in. Friedman saw this in the economies he studied. The countries that prosper most are not those that trust institutions most. They are those whose citizens are more self-sufficient. When you depend on yourself, nothing external can take everything from you. It may take away some resources. It can make it difficult. But it cannot destroy its fundamental power to create value. Stability is not static. It's not a point you reach and stay. It's constant movement. You continually adapt, rebuild, reinvent yourself. The world is reinventing itself. Structures that were solid in one century turn to dust in the next. Skills that were valuable age. The markets they dominate disappear. The only way to remain stable is to constantly be in motion. What is the safest way? First, income autonomy. You need multiple sources of revenue generation. Not because you want to get rich quick, because you truly want to be safe. A salary is not real security. It's a queue. You're waiting in line for someone who pays while it suits them. When it no longer suits you, you leave. Full stop. No explanations, no mercy, no warning. Multiple sources? That's power. This is freedom. If one source dries up, you have others generating income. If two dry up simultaneously, you still have others feeding your life. This is true security. Friedman was absolutely clear about one fundamental thing. What you genuinely learn is infinitely more important than the money you currently have. Money can be lost quickly. Knowledge that you have deeply internalized cannot be lost just like that. A skill can be lost if you don't practice it consistently for years. But a skill that you have truly mastered deeply can always be regained. Therefore, the first true investment in personal financial security is in yourself, not in vague and useless courses, in specific skills that generate real income for someone, in the knowledge that other people need it as much as they need food. That's the foundation. Most think that the safe path is to save a lot. Put money into savings. Let it grow slowly. Friedman via this as a dangerous illusion. Inflation weakens your money. You save 100, but 5 years later, you buy a lot less. You didn't get any safer. You became more insecure. Your money has lost power. Friedman spent nights thinking about how this destroys people trying to do the right thing. The true path is completely different from what most believe. You build enough total income to live comfortably on a small fraction of it. If you earn 10,000 Rs a month and live on just 5,000, you have 5,000 in genuine margin. This margin is your true safety zone. On this margin, you invest, you learn, you build. You don't save passively, you invest actively. Because genuine investment preserves power while passive savings destroy it through historic inflation. Friedman saw three absolute pillars of genuine financial stability. First fundamental pillar, total income autonomy. Multiple different fonts. No one source controls more than 40% of your total income. Why? Because if a source falls completely, you lose at most 40%. You survive. You remain functional. Second important pillar, assets that generate passive income. Rental properties, operating businesses, investments that continue to generate income while you sleep soundly. Third critical pillar, knowledge you can't lose. Skills that work in any economic circumstance. Knowledge is truly portable. You may lose money, you may lose properties. Don't lose what is stored in your mind. The security that Friedman preached required fundamental change in how people think about time. Most people think that time is money. Friedman was more precise. Time is structure. You use time to build income structures. A well-built structure generates more money and less time over time. In the beginning, you invest a lot of time. Work while others sleep. Learn while others have fun. Build while others consume. But it's temporary. The goal is to structure your life so that you eventually no longer need to invest time in the same way. This is real security. It's not being retired. It's not about having so much money that you don't need to do anything. Friedman knew that people who stop completely age quickly. Real security is having the freedom to choose. Choose whether you want to work. Choose what you want to work on. Choose whether you want to build more or enjoy what you've built. Choice is power, and power is genuine security. Friedman understood something that most completely ignore, the critical strategic importance of being positioned before the economic crisis. Crises come. They always came in history. They will always come in the future. The question is not whether a devastating crisis will come. That's when it will come. It's whether you are structured to take advantage of this opportunity or to be destroyed by it. Most are structured to be destroyed. It is completely stuck in a single source of income, in a single market, in a single way of thinking. When a crisis comes, everyone in that market is affected simultaneously. They all fall together. Everyone loses together. Everyone suffers together. But someone with multiple sources of income is positioned radically differently. When one market falls, others may be rising simultaneously. And when one customer disappears, you have 10 other customers generating income. When a technology ages and becomes obsolete, you are already learning the next technology. It is already building new expertise. Friedman viewed crises not as catastrophic disasters, but as historic opportunities. Because crises restructure everything. People well positioned before the crisis emerge infinitely stronger afterwards, much richer, much more powerful. Badly positioned people are eliminated. They disappear completely. The safest path is to viscerally accept that you are never safe enough. Never. This deep acceptance is what keeps you constantly moving. Because movement is true life in personal economics, stagnation is guaranteed slow death. You may be earning well today, but if you stop genuinely learning, if you stop completely reinventing yourself, if you stop consistently building multiple sources of income, in 5 years, you could be completely obsolete. Friedman has seen this happen hundreds of times. People who were successful in one economic era became completely irrelevant in the next era because they refused to reinvent themselves. There are people who earn 10,000 reais a month working legitimately and are truly financially secure. And there are people who earn 100,000 reais a month and are desperately insecure, much more insecure. The difference is not the absolute amount of income, it's the personal structure. That's how many different ways can generate genuine income. That's how many different customers S-feed economically. That's how many different business skills they have. It's how much your consuming standard of living depends on the continuation of a single external thing. Friedman was absolutely brutal and ruthless about something critical. Luxury is genuine insecurity. If you build a standard of living that requires absolutely all of your disposable income, you are in constant, permanent danger. Because any small change in your income means you can no longer afford your luxurious lifestyle. You're trapped in a golden cage. Anyone who wants financial stability must live significantly below their true means, not because it is virtually morally good, because it is structurally safe, because it leaves margin to invest in multiple sources, room to breathe when crises come, room to adapt when circumstances change radically. The absolute majority of people do exactly the opposite of what they should do. They get a pay raise and immediately increase their standard of living. They get a promotion and buy a much bigger house. They receive a bonus and instantly spend it all on unnecessary things. Friedman spent frustrating years explaining to simple people that they were fundamentally their own worst enemies, that every increase in a standard of living without a corresponding increase in income-generating assets was a step toward total insecurity, not true security. You increase the standard of living, increase fixed expenses, reduce margin, reduce investment capacity, reduce future assets. It's a downward spiral that appears upward. The safe path requires you to genuinely understand investing. not as financial speculation, not like playing the lottery, but as real property. Genuine investing is when you put money into something that makes more money. A stock is an investment if you view it as ownership in a company that generates real profits. If you see it as something to sell at a higher price later to another speculator, it is pure speculation. They are completely different. Friedman knew that most people confuse speculation with investment, and speculation doesn't make it safe, leaves poor quickly. Because in speculation, you're dependent on someone else paying more. When everyone starts selling at the same time, everyone loses. Friedman also saw the critical importance of fully understanding absolutely everything you personally invest in. This is a principle that the absolute majority of people completely violate day after day. They put hard-earned money into things they absolutely don't understand. A specialist said, "It's good for me." This is a form of deep structural insecurity. You are delegating personal decisions to someone whose incentives may not be in your true interests. True security comes from you understanding completely every investment, every economic structure. If you can't really understand it, don't invest your money. Wait until you understand. The safe path involves something that seems deeply contradictory. You have to be truly willing to lose. Because if you have a paralyzing fear of losing, you can't really build anything. Become paralyzed by fear. Building multiple sources of income means that some will inevitably fail. It is absolutely inevitable. You will try things that don't work. You will invest in ideas that completely fail. But if you've built yourself well structurally, these losses don't destroy you. These are legitimate personal education costs. They are the honest price of being alive and truly learning. Many people go to the dangerous opposite extreme. They speculate wildly, believing that a big, unexpected quick win will save them completely. Friedman saw this as equally dangerous and self-destructive insanity, because an absolute majority that tries to quickly win speculatively loses everything quickly. The safe path is small, compound, consistent gains. It's not sexy. It doesn't make a good motivational video, but it works reliably, consistently. It works for anyone truly willing to discipline themselves. Friedman was clear about something strategic. Your current profession is your most important tool for building wealth. It is not its definitive end. It's your beginning. Your current profession is exactly how you generate capital to build other income structures. A doctor doesn't get rich just by being a doctor. He becomes rich by using the money he earns as a doctor to build other multiple income structures. A lawyer doesn't get rich by just being a lawyer. Get rich using the income from being a lawyer to invest in properties, businesses, investments, startups. Your profession is the lever. What you do with the income from your profession is what makes you truly secure or truly insecure over time. But here's the part that you don't want to hear it. Building real financial stability isn't quick. It takes time. It takes discipline. It takes you to say no to things that other people say yes to. It takes you to work while other people rest. It allows you to learn while other people have fun. It takes you to build structures silently while other people seek visibility. Friedman doesn't promise it will be easy. Promise it works. And it works because it is based on economic principles that absolutely do not change. Full personal responsibility. Diversification of income into multiple sources. Genuine investment in real assets. Continuous construction of knowledge. Creation of a safety margin. These things worked 300 years ago when Friedman studied historical economies. They work today at this exact moment. They will work 300 years from now because human nature does not change. Because they don't depend on luck or market timing. They depend on a solid structure. And structure, when well built, lasts indefinitely. The dangerous illusion of modern security is that you can have an easy, comfortable, and safe path simultaneously. A comfortable job in a good company. A predictable, planned life. Friedman knew deeply that this illusion is exactly what makes people structurally insecure. Because nothing in reality is truly easy. Nothing is truly comfortable when you break it down. Nothing is truly predictable. The only comfortable thing about seeking security through comfort is the temporary illusion you create. But economic reality always inevitably returns. And when it returns with force, people who didn't prepare are completely destroyed. People who follow the path Friedman describes are not destroyed because they have truly prepared themselves, not for a specific predetermined thing. They prepared themselves for absolutely anything that could happen. They built multiple different support points. They developed multiple true skills. They created multiple distinct sources of income. They invested in generating assets. They accumulated real knowledge. And when an economic crisis actually hits, instead of collapsing completely, they adapt quickly. They seize the opportunities that crises create. So what exactly do you need to do? You need to take specific action. First, you need to honestly evaluate how many different ways you can generate income right now today. In truth. Not theoretically. In truth. If the answer is only one way, you are in real danger. If the answer is 2 ways, you're just getting started on the path. If the answer is 3 or more different ways, you're on the right track. Second, you need to look objectively at your standard of living. Are you living below your means, or are you living exactly at the limit of them? If you are living on the edge, you have no margin at all. Without margin, you cannot invest in anything. Without investment, you don't build true assets. Without assets, you're not safe. Third, you need to really evaluate your knowledge. What are you truly an expert in? What skills do you really have that other people need as much as you need air? These are your genuine survival tools. Friedman would also make you notice something psychologically profound. The security you truly seek is not a final destination you reach. It is not a specific bank account number. It is not a fixed amount of money saved. It is a durable state of personal structure. It's when you're built in such a way that external circumstances have limited power over you and your life. When you can genuinely survive unexpected financial losses. When it can quickly adapt to radical economic changes. When you have real options. It is when you reach this state that you truly sleep peacefully and deeply. Not when you have a lot of money. When it is truly structured. And this true security structure, it is built day after day consistently. Investment after investment. Skill after skill accumulated. Income source after income source created. It is not built in a single day. It is not built in a single year. It takes years. It takes persistent dedication. It requires you to consistently refuse the comfort of the present now in exchange for the security of the distant future. Friedman ended his personal and professional life watching the world economies slowly disintegrate into runaway inflation, seeing entire economic structures become irrelevant and unnecessary, seeing people who honestly believed they were safe completely destroyed because they never diversified, and simultaneously, he saw people who followed his difficult path truly prosper, not necessarily getting rich in billions, but genuinely thrive, remaining standing while others fell. Have real choices about their lives, have true personal economic power. The safe path is not comfortable, but it's absolutely the only way that really works. You can now choose the comfort of the present, work a secure job like everyone else does, earn a predictable monthly salary, live a planned life without major risks, and maybe nothing will change. Maybe you'll be infinitely lucky. But if something changes, if something in the economy falls, you fall with it without having a parachute. You are trapped, or you can choose the discomfort of personal construction. You can work your main job and simultaneously build other multiple sources of income. You can learn new skills while working your main job. You can invest the margin while you earn your salary. It may be constantly reinventing itself and adapting. This is uncomfortable. This is sacrifice. But it's exactly this path that leaves you truly standing when the big changes come. And changes always come inevitably. Friedman deliberately chose the second path. And this personal choice made him a person who absolutely did not depend on anyone for his financial survival, who had no paralyzing fear of economic change, that I slept well at night because I was truly structured against any turbulence. Will you do the same? Will you have the courage to choose the second path? Or you will do what most people do, seek security in completely the wrong place, in external institutions that don't care about you, in people who have their own interests, and then be deeply surprised when everything falls apart. The path is here. It's always been here for anyone willing to see it. It's not new. It's not revolutionary. It is not mysterious or kept secret. It's exactly the path that Friedman rigorously described decades ago studying real economies. It is structurally simple. It may seem complicated when you start, but it really isn't. Diversify your income in a systematic and consistent way. Build real assets that generate passive income. Continuously learn like the rest of the population does not. Live significantly below your true means. Invest the margin you create. Repeat this process consistently for consecutive years, and you will be genuinely safe, not because there is infinite money in the account, but because it is structured rationally and systematically to deal with absolutely anything that life brings in the uncertain future. Now finally, choose whether you will listen to this truth or whether you will continue looking for security in completely the wrong place.